First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. I say this because not because my life is good, not because I'm living a life of luxury, of comfort. The truth is, I'm slowly phasing away. I'm losing my mind and I'm losing my body. And when I mean I'm losing my mind, I understand that I am a test subject that the government is using to develop this weapon system. What's happening to me is they're using this weapon system that would be considered the 21st weapon system, 21st century weapon system, which can use energy to target organs, body parts, the body, and also this weapon system that can alter your mind. And it's been disgusting. The tactics they utilize are the same, and it's meant to degrade and break you down. And the reason why they're doing this to us target individual, unfortunately, is simple. Human subjects are needed to continuously develop this weapon system. This weapon system is weapon system targeting human beings, and to truly develop this system, human beings needs to be used in that fashion. And so what it means is we live a terrible life, and there's people around you who are just contracted by these governmental entities. These governmental entities that have been working on this weapon system for decades, and they're the control environments, just like any experimentations or any any trials of any type of drugs or experimentation. These subjects need to be in the environment where this environment is continuously providing a narration of some sort, at least for target individual, that's created to falsify the reality of what's happening. So for us target individual, you always be around people who kind of like degrading us. They're contracted clowns. That's what I call them. But you've heard the name perps. They're perps. And what it means is these people, as you're being targeted in this fashion, are supposed to make you believe that this is anything but this massive government that is using you as a test subject. But they paint this facade. That's disgusting. So this is why I want to say thank you to all the testimonials from the men and the women and even some children. Thank you for your testimonial. And what you see here is a testimony of a woman called Megan. Megan, if you're watching my videos, know that your testimonials have empowered me, and I know they will empower so many others. Unfortunately, what's happening to target video is they utilize these people around you to try to paint this false narrative, make you believe that this is some kind of program that is protecting the community, avenging for the wrongs you've done, and this and that. The storylines they come up with are just ridiculous. But the truth is, they're targeting people as vulnerable as you, Megan, and even more vulnerable than you. Literally targeting infants and children. It's disgusting what they do. And as sinister as it is a purpose greater than just what we think. This evilness is an evilness applied by these governmental entities. And the things they do to us with this weapon system are just destructive. But it's not just meant to just kill you immediately. It's break you down psychologically too. And who you see here, it's a woman called Megan that start following her as a target individual. She clearly is a target individual. Everything she said has been said by others. The torture she goes through is so similar to so many others. It's just going to be, it's insane. The similarities of what we go through as target individual are ridiculous. It's surreal, as one woman have said. They do the same tactics, especially when it comes to like attacking the body. A lot of targeting is very sexual in the sense that they attack your body by attacking also your genitals. They do that often. They like to do that. They like to harm your private part. They like to harm your health. They like to break you down. They soften your body, meaning destroying like your health, destroy your bones, destroy like really fragilizing you in so many ways. But it's done so slowly. Many have figured that it's better to become homeless than deal with that at home. I think Megan has experienced the same thing here. Living in an apartment, what they do is, or in a house, it's just even worse. There's women who've lived in nice apartment in New York City decided to live outside of their house, become homeless because they say, I'll have a better survival chance in somewhere else if I'm not at home. There's a there's this woman, Kina Jones, who said, I have a house, I have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, uh, I've I've land, I have this and that. I rather live in my car because they keep destroying me with this weapon system. So as target individual, life is just really destructive. Now, why am I thanking Megan so much? With me, it's been disgusting. They've been trying to present themselves as these avengers, protectors of children and women and this and that, when the truth is just the opposite. They're disgusting. And they've been using a facade that's so disturbing. Obviously, this is a governmental program. These entities have learned how to deceive and trick and create perceptions to make it seem like this is anything else but what it actually is. So with me, there's been a lot of women or female gender individual who think that because their genders, it blocks out the reality of what it is. They are some kind of protectors of women and avengers of children, when the truth they're using the facade and to create a perception that they're protecting women, they're protecting children, when the reality they're involved in a program that is destroying so many lives of men, women, and children. Megan is one of these women. Megan, you're one of many, but your testimonials are helping. Your story is helping others, and it's helping me. With me, they've been trying to present me as this threat to children, to women, and with me, I deal with the V2K, the psychological manipulation. I know Megan doesn't deal with that, but so many others are. And I've talked about it so much about how they do rewire your brain using this V2K technology. And women like Megan's have described the same things I've gone through. They rewire your brain, force you to have this disgusting reaction. This is weapon system of the 21st century, and that can attack the mind. But I don't want to just bring that up right now. I just want to bring up the vilification of these perps. They vilify you, try to make you think that you are a threat. You are the danger to children, to women. And what they're doing is avenging for what you've done. One thing they've been saying is like, oh, you abuse, take what you did as a kid. As a child, I did something inappropriate. Not to the extent that they want, but still inappropriate. They wish I molested a child when I was a child. They wish I raped a child. The thing I did, and I say singular, is an inappropriate act of something I did to myself as a kid. You see that kid over there? The reason why I keep showing that face of this kid or this image of a kid, because this is me. Well, it's not me per se. It's the age I was when I did whatever inappropriate act I did. And will never be to the extent they wish it was, but it's still inappropriate. It's not something that would traumatize anybody, but it's still inappropriate. But they've been trying to present it like, no, you traumatized her, you did this and that. No. In fact, to just ensure that these people don't live in this fantasized reality, I start trying to talk to her, this person who's an adult. Just hey, when I was 13, 14, I lived with you and this and that. Remember, just to be like, I know what I did not traumatize anybody, even though it was inappropriate. I understand the reality. It's like, no, she remembered and this and that and this, and she doesn't even know who I am. She doesn't even remember who I am. And what I did is not something that would traumatize anybody, but it's still inappropriate. It's a child doing something inappropriate, and it's coming from a child doing this inappropriate. And trust me, I know she doesn't even remember me, because I actually talked to the father who was like, oh yeah, no, the brother remembers you, but the sister doesn't remember you. I was like, okay, and please, I didn't even remember myself doing that as a child. It was such an impulsive act of a child that it completely phased out of my brain due to the impulsiveness of what I did when I was a kid. It was not something that I kept thinking about. No, completely forgot about it. What a child is capable of doing. But the irony of it all is magical. Because who you see here is a woman called Megan. Megan's story is a sad story. It's so sad that you're going to hear her talking about what she's going through. We know what's happening to us, target individual. Everything is compromised. Our body, safety, everything. But on top of that, we cannot even get proper health care. Doctors are involved. Law enforcement are involved. Court systems are involved. It's a whole system that is there to break you down. It's a purpose. There's a purpose behind it. This is a stupid purpose, but it's part of how they're just developing this weapon system. They really want to see the breakdown of a human being, whatever fashion, humiliating them, doing things to just break psychologically the individual. You're gonna hear one of the latest testimonial of Megan, and it's funny. She brings up like what's happening in her mark on her face. They love to create like rashes and things like that to just kind of break your body down. But Megan's story is even sadder because as a child, she's been abused. Talk about abuse. She's been abused, and you're gonna hear the story of who she think was abusing her. When she was a 5-year-old, when she was a 4-year-old, when she was a 3-year-old, she was being abused. And actually, she mentioned that she was raped when she was a teenager. Throughout her whole life, it's just been a horror. And it seemed like she was some kind of system that kind of put her in like some kind of, I don't know if it's like, not adoption, but like, she had to go to different households. So she was actually in a system, like literally, and she kept going through horrible things throughout her life. And on top of that, became a target individual. So what happened is she was traumatized as a child. This trauma is impacting her today as an adult. But on top of that, she's a target individual that is getting tortured using this weapon system that can attack your body remotely. In every way, it's so sad. She never lived a life of normalcy. Her whole life was just destruction. And then as an adult woman, more destruction using this weapon system that traumatizes her even more with the torture. You're going to hear the different traumatizing, how she's been traumatized in this different fashion. She's traumatized thinking about what happened to her as a child. She's traumatized about what's happening to her as an adult. And her life is just destroyed. That's a strong woman. You hear the testimonial there. For me, they're like, no, what you did as a kid traumatized you, trash ass. Of course, it didn't traumatize her. I know what I did was inappropriate, but as a child doing an inappropriate act, they're like, you're gonna pay. You'll pay for what you did as a kid. This trash out here torturing children and torturing women who were tortured, who were abused when they were kids. You're gonna hear the testimony of this woman who can't even get a counselor or some kind of counseling, or what I should say, a psychiatrist. Even that is denied to her. To cope with what's happened to her, but even to cope with what happened to her when she was a child, she can't even get proper health care, even mental health care. So when I see the psyops of this shit, who's like, no, you're gonna pay, he abused, and this, that's like, no, trash, you guys gonna get chores. These perps are low life trash. They've come up with these psyops and personas of what this is about. It's part of this gimmickiness of it all. You're gonna hear this man whose name is Robert Duncan, who describes how they love to present this false reality where they make themselves be like, oh, we're a group of this cult, or is this and that, anything but this massive government that's doing that to us. Matter of fact, I heard that, or this mentioned that this man called Robert Duncan was found dead. This man was somebody who helped a lot of target individuals by just providing information. And I don't know how his death came about, but I don't know how he died. But he lived with a good purpose in life. And thanks to him, as I'm phasing away, as I'm dying slowly, I am so thankful that I got to see all the information, or some of the information that can help me see this low life, this trash contracted by these governmental entities for the shit and the trash that they are. And I'm so thankful that people like Megan tell the story, to show us target video, as they try to vilify you, as they try to bring up whatever they try to bring up and manipulate you. This is the reality of who's doing that to you. I'm in New York City. There's a lot of fake, like this, like bubble of like wokeness that's so fraudulent. Women who just play, just have adventures like, nah, you paid what you did, trash. People involved in program that does this horror to women and to even children. They literally torture children in the same fashion. And you're gonna hear that. I don't let this low life live the fantasized reality, because what they involved in not only abuses men, women, and children, but they torment them, they torture them, they do all these horrible things to them to the point of death. They utilize all kinds of the disgusting tactics and this purpose. Some of them are even children, so they groom children to be involved in these things that this woman is going through. But with me, they try to make themselves believe, like, no, not your pay, and they make the fucking trash. What they deserve for what they involved in is horrible. What they deserve is beyond what I can do or anybody can do, but they will get theirs. With me, because I present the reality of what they're part of and what they're really part of and what they really are, they're going to create some theatrical torture. Matter of fact, what they're saying to me right now is like they're going to frame me. They're going to have a child. I don't know. Sometimes they say it's going to be a 16-year-old. Sometimes they're going to say it's a 13-year-old. Sometimes they're going to say it's a 14-year-old. I don't know if it's multiple children. But they're going to say that because they're going to frame me using their children while they're working for programs that torture children, torture women, who, just like Megan, who were actually raped when they were children and abused when they were babies. And today's adult women being tortured. And also torturing actual babies, infants, toddlers, and kids of all ages. It's nasty. Me, they try to vilify me, and this is specific to like when they say you abuse, you this, and talking about me as a child. Well, this woman talks about, and you're going to hear this, thinking that her father or somebody who was like a father was doing things to her, and they will pull her back. They will pull her as a toddler back with this father who's supposed to be responsible of her, and he will do things to her. You know, with me, they're like, no, what she does as a kid, there's like, first of all, you're just trying to even exaggerate what it does as a child. But sometimes they're like, no, what you see, like she remembers, and so what I did not traumatize anybody. I in myself didn't even remember what I did. And I reassure you that what this woman, Megan, is remembering is not what a child did to himself when he was a child, but what was being happening, was being done to her when she was a baby, a toddler. I'm not going to dismiss that what I did as a child was inappropriate, but please understand, it's far from what they're trying to create. I did something to myself as a kid, an impulsive act of a child. When I think about it, I was like, oh, what was I thinking? And on top of that, I was a kid, so you got to understand the mental capacity of a child. The impulsiveness of a child is what of a child. But I know the reality of what they do. They're just trying to use whatever they can to vilify you, because the truth is they torture even babies. Like babies, infants, toddlers, young children, women. So obviously they know the reality of things. They don't understand that an inappropriate act of a child is what a child is capable of doing. They're going to frame me using these retards of children. So they know what children can do. But I'm making this video because I want to make it clear. Women like Megan, who've gone through rough life in the first place, and then even worse as adults, are helping me to see this purpose for what they are. The humiliating reality when they say, oh, that was abuse. First of all, you're torturing women who were abused when they were babies, when they were toddlers, when they were teenagers. You rape them using this weapon system. And then you torture children using this weapon system. You're disgusting trash. And then you play this innocent, like sensible person that, oh, he abused. No, you abuse women who were abused when they were children. You abuse children using this weapon system that tortured them. And then my mind is so disturbed. Every time I see a kid, a toddler, they make me have this nasty reaction. Like, now we're out there, your brain, it's you when you were a kid, trash ass. When it's the truth, when the truth is they're manipulating your brain to force you to have reaction toward babies, children of all ages. Because this weapon system can alter your mind, and this is what it's doing to me. And then they use these gaslighting retards who's supposed to make me accepting of these manipulations. And also acceptive of the persona they painted. Megan, thank you so much. What you did there, it just helped a lot. This psychological psyop type of tormenting that's happening to target individual, that perhaps I don't know if it's happening to you, where they're presenting the target individual as a danger, as a threat, as an abuser, as a this and that, when the truth is the people doing that to us are the threat to women, to children, and they have far low life that will get theirs. And I will never let people that do what they do to you or done to other women or involved in a program that does these things to women and children live their fantasized reality. If it's not me when I'm a kid, like, no, but what you did to this woman, I was like, you would destroy her and her children's life. I cannot let people involved in what you just heard, what you're going to hear, play these Avengers with the atrocities they're involved in. So for me, putting that in their faces, they're like, no, we're going to torture you in the worst way. We're going to whip this. Like, I'm going to be whipped, tortured, castrated by people who torture babies, women. Doing this rewiring of the brain and working for governmental entities with disgusting issues. And that play the feminists when they're involved in a program where pure torture is happening to women all around the world. I'm so thankful that you're going to see that. On August 19 to August 29, I think, 2020, I was saying this is happening to men, women, and children. I was in that video, and you heard women speaking about what's happening to them and their family members, which inclusive of children. They're nasty low life. This is an honorable death for me. I'd rather die this way than having to live the life of people involved in what you're just going to hear. Not only happened to Megan, but a bunch of women. And the horror that they've gone through give me strength. But most importantly, it helps me seeing this fucking shit for what they are. As they play, oh, I feel so bad. Where you feel bad that when you're involved in something that does these horrible things to women and children. I don't care what you feel. These perps are disgusting trash. Opportunists. And I'm glad that testimonials like that present that reality to them. As they want to torture me so bad that it's supposed to counter this. Stay strong, target vigil. And listen to this woman. Megan, thank you for your testimonials and continue to provide us testimonials. It's helping us in ways that you don't understand. And be strong, and you're a strong person, and your strength has given me strength. So stay strong and know that justice will be done for all the things they've done to us. And it will not be free. And you don't understand the disgusting things that's happening to people like me, where they're using this facade of protective and avengers, when the truth they are here involving in torturing women and children. And when it comes to your testimonials, they do everything possible to deflect the testimonials of women, or make it look like, no, we support these women that are being tortured. No, you don't. You do the same thing. This woman is not even allowed to get proper health care. So my target individual, listen to this and listen to how they try to counter reality.
Just kind of just living life and doing things and trying to cope. Kind of went through a series of difficult things where, like, I had a counselor and, like, suddenly she wasn't my counselor anymore, and I was supposed to go make an appointment with a psychiatrist, and I had to help me deal with, like, crying and everything. I assume just, like, PTSD, just things today, stirring up feelings from times that have passed, and like really intense feelings. So I was hoping to get medicine to help me cope with it. But anyway, so I made like an appointment in like July, like late June, early July. And I showed up to it was supposed to be like an online kind of thing, and it was like just a whole bunch of bullshit. And then in the end, the person didn't meet with me, and then suddenly they also didn't take my insurance. And these kind of things have happened. Like last year, I tried for like 3 months to get a mammogram. Suddenly this year, this company, I complained about this actually to a couple of people, and then suddenly this company just happened to get my number and call me, and they were like gonna schedule me an appointment, but I was supposed to get like a mammogram for somebody who's experiencing pain, which is supposed to be like bilateral, and I'm small chested, so like it doesn't make sense to do the roller machine thing. They're like, there's not much to put in here. So anyways, I didn't end up getting a mammogram because they weren't, and then suddenly, like, I had 2 or 3 physicians refer me to get mammograms in the past like year and a half. But then whenever I go to get the mammogram, suddenly it's like a walk-in facility, but then suddenly it becomes an appointment-only facility, and then it's like 6 or 8 weeks out. And then whenever I go, they don't take my insurance. So you see, this is like a repetitious pattern. And I don't know, this is it. I think it's like just something like just like lasers basically on my body just to try to make me look gross or something. It seems weird that would be like a weapon of war. Like, super strange, or things have happened. Anyway, so it's just I was super discouraged after that happened. Like, I had been staying with someone and doing work with them, and it was like I started staying with them on a Friday, and like Monday suddenly my counselor couldn't meet with me. Friday, the psychiatrist couldn't meet with me, and like Thursday, my phone suddenly didn't work anymore, and it was just like, I don't know, it's really weird. And the week before that, hold on, maybe it was the week before that, maybe it was even that same week, my court case got dismissed on the basis of jurisdiction. And it was like one of those things where you have like 2 weeks to respond, and if you don't respond in 2 weeks, we're gonna make this decision. Well, I told the court that anything they send to me takes 2 weeks to a month for me to receive it. So if you tell me to respond in 2 weeks, like, it's probably like a month later whenever I get that. So I'm smiling now. It's been a rough couple of weeks. And just kind of coping with some of the things that I like, high level trauma that I deal with if I'm living in a house. Which of course, like, sleeping in the car is super scary because I'm a woman and it's super scary. But there are things that are really scary about living in a house too, and that are hard, high level, difficult to cope with. I was talking to a friend of mine this week, and she was talking about Sasha. She was talking about like feeling like no matter what decision you make, it's going to be the wrong decision. That like you have, like, almost like you're forced to make some decision, but like no matter what it is, it's not like each outcome is a negative outcome. And I was dealing with a lot of feelings like that, feelings that like things have happened to me that have caused me a lot of difficulty, and just like really intense feelings. But then if I try to get like help to cope with those feelings, like the same system that did that shit to me keeps me from getting help. And just like, feeling like, you know, like I bought the lie that I live in some place where there's freedom and justice, and I thought that my experience was unique. And now I think that my experience is a truth, and what I believed was a lie. And that most of the people that I meet live in some variation of the same situation, or in some form or fashion, where, like, I'm told that, like, even presidents get prosecuted if they commit crimes. But the reality is, my government has protected my abusers and even caused them to abuse me. And that since I was a child, when I was a child. And just like feeling like those ugly, helpless feelings, like I couldn't protect myself when I was 5, and like feeling like a lot hasn't changed since then, like, and some things have changed, you know, some things have changed, but just like those feelings of helplessness, of like not being able to really help myself, feeling like I can't, like someone's claiming some kind of jurisdiction over my life so that I can't, like, get housing. I've worked for humanitarian aid organizations, I know how they work, and feeling like the resources are for people but not for me. And part of that is why I stopped working for humanitarian aid organizations, because I felt like I couldn't help the me that needed help. Like, that person was just calling and getting answering machines if their calls went through at all. And that's what it feels like. It feels like, you know, on the surface there were people that were involved in the things that happened to me, but the reality of the situation is I was put into the care of the person who I later knew as my father. And in December, I remembered being sexually abused by somebody who looked a lot like him. And I don't know, I remember being in some place, some facility, that wasn't a hospital, but I've told myself my whole life it was a hospital. And I remember when I saw his face, I kicked him in the face, and I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I don't know what would make me respond that way. And the sexual abuse that I just remembered in last December, like, I wonder if, I mean, someone put me into his care. Someone told me you're going to get a mother and a father, and only he showed up to get me. And I wonder if he did that to me before then, and they just put me right back into his hands. And that's very possible. That is very possible. That's exactly what happened. And unfortunately, I don't remember the sequence of events. My memory of the sexual abuse, like, the man looked like my father, but he wasn't as tall, and that's super hard to explain. Anyways, my phone's gonna die. Deep breaths.
So, yesterday I went to the beach and, like, drank a couple of beers and just sat down there after laying in bed and sobbing for 2 hours because the private parts of my body were being burned and my breasts are removed. And just the trauma from it. Just not being able to cope with the pain and the emotional trauma that comes from someone harming me using, I guess, remote medical technology is my best guess. I went and saw a dermatologist. Hey,
I just woke up after a pretty rough night. The same thing happened last night as the night before, which was whenever I was trying to go to sleep, the private parts of my body began being burned again, and it felt like someone pushing out stream. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. Don't really know what to do. I tried to go to a doctor to get some kind of pain medicine because what actually happens to me, a lot of strange things. I've been doing some research, I guess what it's called, organized stalking. I'm called a targeted individual. But the abuse last night was pretty extreme. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. Don't really know what to do. I tried to go to a doctor to get some kind of pain medicine because what actually happens to me, what is happening to me is my actual physical body is being burned. So it causes me to go into shock, and it's excruciatingly painful. And I have my limitations on the duration and length of pain that I can handle. So it was a couple of weeks ago, I tried it. I don't know if the government has the right to watch and the proper in a lot of capacities of the things that I've faced. So today just feeling some pretty general fear about my own safety, because the government's burning the private parts of my body. Sometimes it feels like a laser or like pins and needles, like a tattoo. Sometimes it feels like a sunburn. All of that today. This morning, it's like not even noon yet here, and already I'm experiencing the pain and the harm to my body, to the private parts of my body. Today I'm actually dealing with something that's like, it's different than the burning the private parts of my body. It feels like somebody is trying to literally like cut the inside of my body, of my vagina, and I'm bleeding, and it's like bright red blood, and it's extremely painful. And I've talked to 2 people about it today. I've kind of talked to
become very brittle and suddenly I will somehow have a lot of fractures from minor things like stepping off of curbs. And this is just a hypothesis. It's based on past experience of things that have happened, of how the system tries to cover up things that it does to people by saying like, oh, well, this was pre-existing, or oh, it was just your natural normal body. See, look, now you have something else going on that points to this. I don't know how to explain to you how deep corruption goes, but it's, you know, I'm dealing with it, baby. But I suspect that's what's going to happen. I hope not. Hopefully this video being out in the world and people being my voice will make so that that doesn't happen. It is absolutely unacceptable for the government to be watching and for teenagers to be sexually assaulted and raped, which is what happened to me, that I have been under close watch for my entire life, and horrible, horrifying, heinous things have happened to me and no one has been prosecuted. And that is the absolute truth. And
went to bed. leave. So I stayed in my room.
Pinpoint one person, it's everybody, it's all the time, and so it discredits your character and your state of mind, which, starts to make everybody believe something's wrong with you, and then you start believing something's wrong with you. But it's not you, and you know that it's not you. It's just hard to prove. But don't go get, mental health help. Don't see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Most of the time, they're involved too. Your police are involved, your firemen, ambulance, people at hospitals, they're all involved. And it's unfortunate that we live in a society that gets a kick out of doing people like that. But it is what it is. The only thing you can do is stay strong and focus on the people you love. I was lucky enough to have my mother, who was going through the same thing that I was going through. They started saying all kind of crazy stuff to her at her jobs, and
I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture. And I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm a victim of organized
We
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, and I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the U.S., in Illinois, and I'm a victim of organized
We
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, microwave torture,
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand, but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our third annual Targeted Individual Day. And I'm asking that every honest-hearted human being open their eyes to a crime.
My name is Jeanette. I am 56 years old and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a victim of covert electronic harassment and torture. I am a targeted individual.
Hello.
Why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. It's brutally painful. I have a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe
and have had a decent
So this gets into creating Manchurian candidates, split personality, and information curves, satanic ritual abuse. Okay, so they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's. So they'll say we're the Russian. The V2K. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
It's already being used. I mean,
if you talk to the victims, the TIs, one of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape and forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and especially violating for women. They complain about that torture breakdown the most.
You feel that you've been injustice?
You mean as far as the Justice Department feeling me?
Well, in terms of your being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, "How do I know you didn't do that to yourself?" How do you even address that? I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1 but 2. The one physician said, "You're mentally sound as a bell." He said, "I don't have any idea what's going on with you." When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock of my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of the...
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2976, but if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women. The next speaker.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Buckner, and I have been a targeted individual for a very long time. The things I have experienced due to being targeted, they have been unreal. But however, I can personally attest that this is very real indeed. My life has been destroyed in every possible way, and every day has been a struggle for me. I'm very grateful to be before you today due to Amy Anderson's due diligence and to everyone else involved. I thank you, council members, for giving us targeted individuals a chance to speak and to be heard. And I pray that these atrocities will soon be brought to an end. But we need your help. Thank you.
Alex?
Military medical research. I too believe my experience is referred to as no-touch torture, utilizing defense technologies. Jonathan Marino, he basically predicted all this a number of years ago in his book Undue Risk. I'm asking you to help initiate a congressional investigation. We've all come a long way. This is what is needed. We want to have the accounts of this extreme human rights abuse that's going on in our country documented and heard, all of the accounts. We also need what was done during the Clinton administration, which is a major declassification of some of these documents that are hiding what's been going on. I speak for many when I say we've suffered long enough. My personal experience has been 10 years. I've been vilified. I've been ostracized. I've been tortured. I have burns on my body. I'm an American. I have rights. The answer to the question, the big question today, could it happen today? The answer is yes, it is happening today. It is happening for some of us every day. I am begging for you to help us. Thank you.
I'm kidding. Hello, everyone. My name is Leslie Crawford. I'm here from the state of Michigan. I wanted to speak about biotechnology applications being utilized on my person. I have medical reports showing eye damage being done to my eyes. My eyes does not have a mirror image. I also have nanowiring inside my eyes. I have pictures of the actual implants from the eye doctor. Once enlarging the nano implants, you will see a copy of the actual particles in my eyes. I have CAT scans, MRIs, and PETs showing wiring, nanowiring in my head. This is my brain. It's straight from the right side to the left side of my head. I also have implants in my chin, in the chin region on both sides. One side shows a wire, the other side shows the actual implant. Implant particle devices coming down through here. Projectiles of the nanoparticles on the side of my head in large pictures. These crimes is happening in America. This is a domestic problem, not only international. The victims is not being just victimized individually. We are being victimized and our family members as well. Gang stalking tactics and harassment was utilized to implement us into this program unconsensually.
Leslie, I think your comments reinforce much of what we've heard, and if you don't mind, I'd like to make room for others at the microphone now, since it seems to be reinforcing. Juan, I'd ask you to pick somebody, this gentleman right here. Yeah.
She's been waiting.
I'm sorry, who's been waiting? Oh, yeah, please.
My name is Eugenia Durden.
I'm sorry, Eugenia?
Eugenia Durden, yes. Everything I've heard from this commission and this panel about ethics, they were mostly talk about pharmaceuticals research, but I haven't heard anyone talking about a psychotronic weapon research or bioelectromagnetic weapon research. Who in this panel are familiar with a psychotronic weapon? Raise your hand, please. Who of you know about psychotronic weapons? Any one of you? Psychotronic bioelectromagnetic weapons. Are you familiar with that?
Not at all.
No? Okay. In this audience, is anybody familiar with a psychotronic weapon? Okay. Okay, the audience is familiar with that, and I think that in order for a panel or a commission to be able to help this problem and this issue, we'll have to have more knowledge on what psychotronic weapons are. I am physically leashed from my neck to the electromagnetic power of one of the weapons that is being used against me. I get tortured day and night. At night is with nightmares and all kinds of dreams that I don't want in my head. And throughout the day is my body. They prod with my neurological system, so they do anything to my body. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes.
My name is Dr. John Hall.
In a way, I'm very sorry to address you like this because I think that what you're doing is very admirable. But I'm here to represent this other group, and I am also targeted, and this is my story. My name is Sandra Field. I'm an architect, recipient of Who's Who of Women in America Achievement Award, and have run a successful business for over 28 years. My life and livelihood have been compromised for the last 11 years by being attacked by electromagnetic radiation torture and by organized stalking. I cannot live in my rent-stabilized apartment in New York City as a result of this torture. I'm currently staying in motels and friends' houses in the last year. Thousands of Americans are currently suffering from chemical, electromagnetic, psychological, and physical torture with no government relief or laws. Our servicemen, prisoners, and thousands of unknowing, innocent civilians are currently being lamed, tormented, and tortured as a result of military research, medical research, pharmaceutical research, physiological and psychological studies that have virtually destroyed participants' sanity, physical well-being, reputation, and privacy.
And the plan is that Mr. Juan Chuck back here will be, has the list of folks that will be offering comment. And maybe the thing to do is to just dive into that. I want to remind you before we do that the commission, of course, is charged looking at on the topic of
Ms. Cassandra Lewis.
Hi, Ms. Lewis.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Cassandra Lewis, and I'm a targeted individual from Baltimore, Maryland. My story may sound disjointed. I'm trying to keep it within the minute and a half. I worked as a legal secretary at Hogan and Hartson in Washington, D.C. It is now called Hogan Lovells. Attorney Jan McDavid made a client mistake that she tried to blame on me. I then refused to work for Ms. McDavid. Shortly thereafter, strange and inexplicable events occurred on my job, and after being fired, followed me to my home and to all my travels. Attorney Christopher J. Hagan, formerly of Hogan and Hartson, Mr. Samuel Conrad, he's a retired security administrator of Hogan and Hartson, and Robert Johnston, who is the current firm administrator of Hogan Lovells, are responsible for my targeting. I believe to protect Ms. McDavid's reputation, a phone call was made. To whom and why they did this to me, I truly just speculate. Gang stalking and harassment was used to implement this non-consensual biotechnology application that is being used on me. I now experience involuntary limb movements. I receive stingings. I get pains to my head, to my abdomen, to my vaginal area, and to my anal area. I am receiving...
Mrs. Marshall?
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Marshall. I'm a former mayoral candidate from Louisville, Kentucky. I have never been involved in any criminal activity. I found a document in my bank account that said, problem with Kentucky government, check federal government paperwork and file before releasing information to anyone. I am an 8-year victim survivor of assaults by directed energy weapons. The torture I've experienced consists of body overheating, body extremely cold, seizures, heart pain, earaches, itching behind eyes, burning behind eyes, swelling, headaches, involuntary movement of my limbs, exhaustion, speeding and heart racing, hair coming out by the handfuls as if I've had chemotherapy, mind paralysis, being hypnotized or placed in a trance-type state, being tracked by a drone or satellite, controlled dreams, sleep deprivation, V2K, which is voice to skull, projected sound, extreme muscle spasms, and extreme muscle cramps, being made to fall down, blue circles around the pupils of my eyes, and I'm here and you can look at them if you like, low frequency noises in my home, high frequency noises in my home, sexual stimulation, numerous electrical appliances in my home are destroyed, 4 computers, 2 fax machines, 7 telephones, 4 CD players, VCR, DVD players, electrical igniter switch on my furnace, washer and dryer, air conditioner, also my car radio, CD player, and engine were destroyed. I am watched in my home 24 hours a day and followed around everywhere I go, though I do not have a criminal history. When I ran for mayor of my town, I was also attacked at debates and forums. My website is www.justiceforallcitizens.com. Thank you. And I would like to leave these flyers with you all as well.
Highly perverted, involving many combinations of sensory and motor manipulation of my mind and body and of the people around me. This includes many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. They sometimes do pulses or throbbing sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. I also experience what is referred to as malo. Anything electronic. They have even locked me out of my office building that uses an electronic key. It is often very difficult and an immense battle just to even sit on the toilet to go to the bathroom. Not only because of the bowel and bladder manipulation, but also because of the frequent severe sexual assaults on the genitals, my butt and anus, shaking, vibrating, and rocking my body back and forth, and forced eyeball movements, and phantom touch sensations doing rubbing sensations, etc.
But I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, you're going to get shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them?
So yesterday I went to